Welcome to the Health on Track podcast. Let's talk well-being.
Welcome to the Health on Track podcast, offering you a shot of wellness. I'm Yasmin, and I'm the Member Engagement and Communications Manager at GIG Gulf Insurance. People are different, whether it's about food, music, activities, but it's not just the difference of tastes. Some differences are more fundamental than that. Some people are introverts and some are extroverts. But what does that mean exactly? Let's find out. We're here today with Asha Dullabh, a clinical psychologist with 19 years of experience. She has presented several talks and hosted workshops in UAE on topics related to holistic mental health, emotional intelligence, individual and couple counseling for adolescents and adults, critical incident debriefing, trauma debriefing in private holistic studios, corporate offices, clinic, and educational settings. Thank you so much for joining us today, Asha.
It's a great pleasure. I'm so looking forward to talking about this topic.
Thank you. Okay, so let's tell us more about this topic. Who are introverts and who are extroverts?
So let's take it a little step back. So let's look at this word introvert and extrovert, and where does it all come from? So it goes right back to Jung theory, and the word introvert is basically meaning inward, and extrovert outward. So extro is out, inward is in, and then vert is turning towards, right? So it's all about how we're relating with our energy. So most people think about, oh, who speaks a lot, who doesn't speak to, and it's not really about that. So it's about how are we feeling in our energy. So it's less about behavior and more about an energy currency. So an introvert, for example, would really gain energy through being solitude time. So they prefer to be alone most of the time. When extrovert, they gain their energy through social interaction, speaking with lots of people, being around more people. So that's the clear difference. So most people think it's just about behavior, and sometimes people misunderstand it as shyness or lacking confidence, but it's really a nice way to look at how and where do we gain our energy. And energy is really important because in our times today, we want to feel energized.
So are people usually either an introvert or an extrovert, or can someone be like kind of a mix?
Absolutely, we can be a mix. There's actually a term for this. It's called ambivert. So this is like a blend and a dance of the two, right? So, but there's always a preference or a dominance towards one. So even though someone may be an ambivert with a beautiful mixture and they dance in between the two, you have this kind of person that can easily have one-on-one deep conversations, but they're also that kind of person that kind of lights up the room when they walk into a group. But the key thing here is that the person that is an ambivert can be in a group setting, but with the right people and the right circumstance. So they're not going to be someone that's going to just go to any kind of party. They want to go to the party because they know that these are the people that they actually want to interact with when it's a group. But it's a beautiful dance between the two.
So actually, there's this test, the 16 personalities test. And when I did that test on the scale of introvert, extrovert, I rated as 51% extrovert, 49% introvert. And this is why I'm asking, because I was like, okay, so it's 1% between being exactly in the middle.
Yes. So you are definitely an ambivert. You've got that clear balance. I mean, 1 or 2% doesn't really make a difference. If you scored like 80 and 20, then there would have been a clear dominance of the one over the other. But then again, there's so many factors that are at play when we're taking a test like that. You know, what's going through our minds? How are we interpreting the question? Sometimes we overthink these kind of tests as well. But it's a good way just to get an overall feel of where we are at.
Yeah, I figured I'm not exactly at 51 and 49%, but somewhere in the middle.
Yes.
It's safe to say.
Exactly.
Then,
like I think about myself, I think I'm an ambivert if I look at it. So as you're reading my bio, I was thinking, I wonder now, am I, with all that I've done, am I an extrovert, an introvert? Because I can relate to it. No, I'm an ambivert.
Yeah, makes sense. So how does someone figure out if they are an introvert or extrovert, and what charges their energy?
So of course, there's the the test. But if you really want to take a moment to just introspect, ask yourself, am I one after a long day's work? Do I need to go home and just be alone and be in solitude? Or do I need to get out and meet up with my friends? Number two, you can ask yourself, where do I get my energy from? Do I need to just be alone to regulate, to recoup? Or do I actually need a whole group of people? So it's just, it's about the energy. It's about how is your body feeling? Because your body can also tell you how comfortable you are, what you need, before your mind tells you this. Sometimes we go into an overthinking mode, and that also just throws us out. So energetically, we know, our body knows what we are needing.
So are people born that way? So someone is born an introvert, or does it kind of change throughout the phases of their life?
So we are born with a temperament, and life throws in its edits, let's put it that way. So we are all going through experiences in life, our conditioning. So some of us go through trauma that can even have a shape on how we express ourselves. Our culture plays a huge role, our upbringing, our school environment. So it's definitely it's a bit of a link. We are born with a temperament, but then it's nurtured. It's nature versus nurture that really creates and shapes how we actually express ourselves with ourselves and the outer world.
Yeah, because I feel like when I was younger, I wanted to be out more and I wanted to be around my friends more. Like I could do it every day and I would be fine. But now it's like I've been with my friends 2, 3 days over the weekend, for example, and then you know what? No, today I'm just gonna sit at home and chill.
Yes, yes. So you are really beginning to align with yourself, because sometimes we box ourselves so much into types, and our personalities are so layered, and we then can make it quite complex when we find ourselves in one type or boxing ourselves in. And as you just explained, as we are experiencing life and circumstances, we are adaptable and we are changing, because change is the only constant. And you are tapping in beautiful to your alignment of, how do I feel now? In the past, I used to be like sociable, and now I'm different. And that's really important, more important than boxing ourselves into types. I actually thought maybe we need to move away from all the boxing and the types, because we need to just tap into what's very natural and human to our existence and our way of being.
Yeah, true. You mentioned culture and upbringing and how it can impact a person's habits, let's say. How do you see that taking shape in your experience? So, do you find that, for example, introverts are judged, maybe, and that, you know, culture pushes them into becoming more into extroverts?
Okay, so we have, first let's talk about the culture. So culture definitely has an impact on the way we begin to understand life, how we are expected to behave. And some families, they are just through culture much more extroverted, much more expressive, more outspoken. And then maybe in a family, you get one in the family that's not as outspoken. And sometimes they can be judged in a world that kind of prides and really kind of nurtures this, being outspoken, being out there. We can begin to judge people that are quieter. And that's what we need to move away from, in fact, because the quieter one doesn't necessarily mean that there's anything wrong. But generally, when someone says, "Oh, you're so quiet," it's almost seen as a flaw, and it's not. So culture does play a role. Number one, our upbringing, our rituals in our families. Some families just tend to sit together, have a meal together, laugh a lot. Our culture plays a role. But then again, we have to accept the uniqueness and differences in each and every individual, because you do have those families where sometimes it's said, this is a black sheep because they don't speak as much, or they're not so they don't express that much. But there's so many factors that play a role: shyness, confidence, self-esteem, If I just think about myself as a young child, I was very shy. I would never ever see myself sitting
On a
and talking on a
podcast.
podcast. And as time went by, as I found myself and understood myself better, I feel far more confident to be authentic, to be real. I think we live in a world where we're so pressured to perform and to produce and to be perfect that it can also just create a shield in the way we express ourselves.
Can being an introvert or an extrovert impact how people function in a team or if they're put into a leadership position?
Oh yes, definitely. That's something that plays out within work environments all the time. Of course, there are strengths and weaknesses in both. I think an introvert offers a lot of focused, very good decision-making, strategic abilities within a team. They are the ones that work well with proactive teams, that they need to think and listen very carefully. They are the thinkers, they are the listeners before they speak. Where the extrovert is also great within a team because they are the ones that can energize a team and get a team really moving on a project. They are the ones that need to speak to generate and brainstorm ideas. So we do need leadership that has a combination of two, the dance. I think that makes the ideal leader. But then again, it's also being able to look at a job circumstance or a team and leadership and say, where is each individual best at, and putting themselves in that position. So it's less about the job and more about how am I gaining my energy and how am I experiencing this than the job title or the leadership role. Because someone that is very strategic in their leadership, very focused, can be a great decision maker and strategic planner. Whereas we need maybe the extroverts to be the salespeople. Yeah.
So you find that introverts and extroverts are better suited for different types of jobs?
Yes, I do think so, definitely.
Like what?
So I would say so. Introverts, for example, they are ones that require that time to kind of process before they produce. They need to maybe have
Data analysis,
yes,
finance.
coaching sometimes can fit in, psychology can fit into that as well. Where the extroverts, they need to be out there engaging with people, socializing, collaborating. These are the salespeople. These are the people that are doing a lot of projects, social media. Influencers are definitely extroverts. So, and of course, then you have professions that really require the blend and the dance of both. The keen business people that can blend both the energy of being out there as well as, you know, making the decisions and the autonomy and the strategies. Yeah. But I do think we have clear roles and jobs that fit into dominant types.
Who's an introvert not work, not be able to perform well as a salesperson? Like, is it just the stacks are the odds are against them, or
No,
would they
I
still
don't
be
think-
able to still be a salesperson if they wanted to?
I think, of course, anybody should try and do what they love. Again, if they're feeling energized by being a salesperson, wonderful. Why not go and try it out? At the end of the day, whatever we are doing, we have to feel a sense of joy and energy. If I'm sitting here talking to you, and as I'm talking to you, I'm depleting my energy, and the time I leave, I'm exhausted, I know for sure I'm not doing another podcast. You know, so this kind of maybe is boring. Maybe I need something where I'm in a panel discussion, so talking to many people. So to gain whatever we are doing, we need to be in alignment. And it changes over time. Just like you and I were chatting when we were younger, it was different.
Yeah. No, like you mentioned, people change. Like, I don't think you stay the same person, not just with that, not just as an introvert or extrovert, like generally.
Exactly.
People
so
grow.
many layers.
Yeah. Are there any misconceptions about, you know, being an introvert or being or just personality types in general that you would like to talk about?
I think there are many. Sometimes introverts are seen as quiet, shy, but they are just ones that don't waste their words. And then sometimes extroverts can be seen as shallow, but they just express themselves in a different way. Loud, you know what I mean? They sometimes are perceived that they don't have enough depth, but it's not about that. And then sometimes people perceive extroverts as happy people and introverts as one that maybe lack confidence. And those are all myths, because you can have an introvert that is highly confident and happy, and an extrovert also that is maybe not as happy as they project themselves to be. So it's not as simple as we just sort of put them into boxes and say introvert, extrovert. It's such a complex, human beings are complex.
Yeah. No, I think it could actually be the opposite. I mean, someone who's maybe not as confident can be trying to portray that they are confident through extroverted activities and talking and being loud and chatting with everyone and connecting with everyone just to show that they're confident, even though maybe they're not.
Because let's face it, we are living in a world where we are like grand actors. Lots of pretending happening, lots of acting happening. So we can put on a mask in whichever way we want to. Because let's look at personality. From the word personality comes the word persona. And from persona, what does persona mean? Mask. And we have to be able to be very conscious of our roles and the masks that we are wearing and how we are doing it. So it's okay to do whatever we have to do, the different masks that we have to use, because sometimes we have to use these different masks. Whether you're a mom, then you are a podcast host, then you are a friend, and sometimes we have to adapt ourselves in those roles. So, I think that we need to just be very in tune with who we are as individuals and understand how are we relating, why we're relating in this particular way, and adapt accordingly. Because I think that pretty much anyone can be the way they want to because of this grand act.
Fair enough.
That I see.
Yeah. In your experience, does it have an impact on mental well-being to be either way?
Yes. So because introverts tend to be more on their own, spend time with themselves, we often know that when we are with ourselves, we like to get into our heads, right?
Overthink.
Oh, yes. And then when we overthink, we really love going to the worst case scenario. We are human beings that imagine, and we like the lead role actors in movies. We imagine the worst horror stories in our minds, and that can put us in anxiety mode and rumination, overthinking. Overthinking is one condition I hear every hour on the day. People come to me and say they're overthinking, then they're oversharing, then they're overanalyzing, and then I have overfeeling recently. I call it the over syndrome. We're doing everything over. Right? So, and then on the extroversion, they are so out there and so busy doing their thing, performing, interacting, mixing with people. Perhaps they are ones that don't allow enough time for introspection, for taking time to understand themselves or working on themselves. So that's the other part of they may even reach burnout because they're busy doing, keeping busy so much that they can reach burnout and stress.
Is there any research that suggests that, being an extrovert leads to higher levels of stress or higher levels of burnout?
I haven't come up with any, I don't know of any specific research, but I'm sure it is out there, especially with the introversion and the anxiety and the overthinking. But on hand, I can't give you an exact research. I'm sure if people research that, they'll find something.
Yeah, but it's worth thinking about. I mean, everyone listening now, they can think about, just kind of understand themselves more and, like you said, to reflect more.
Definitely.
Okay. Any tips you would like to share with us?
I think what I would like to say is, if you're an introvert, honor your solitude, your silence. If you're an extrovert, honor your expression. If you're an ambivert, honor your fluidity. I think we're in a world that is so focused on what's outward And I want to say, let's also focus on what's inward and enjoy who you are. Don't try and change your personality. Don't try and fix it. Don't try and mend it. Just be who you are in the most authentic way.
But wouldn't someone say that maybe you should try to adapt to being a different way? Like, not just because one of them is right and one of them is wrong, but just so that you are more flexible. So if you're an introvert, then you can try and just kind of head towards being an extrovert just a little bit more so that you're not uncomfortable. And same with extroverts, then you can just try to be a little bit more introvert.
I think we're all trying to be flexible in so many different aspects of our life, and I do understand that. But I think what's more important is be natural.
Yeah.
Do and feel and be in the most natural way, because that's when you're tapping into ease and comfort in the body and the mind. The minute we are trying to be something other than what's natural, we're going to begin to struggle.
Yeah, but because there's always this like step out of your comfort zone, break the box and just to kind
All
of
the
be,
sayings,
yeah,
you know.
the motivational
Yes,
sayings,
yes,
actually.
yes. But of course, there's always space for growth and learning. So if there's a part of you that you want to develop and you know inherently, like, I can do a podcast, or I can be a podcaster. If it's that inner feeling in you, of course, I would say, try it out. Don't hold yourself back, because even that inner little feeling, that intuitiveness is trying to tell you something. That's also part of authenticity and your natural way of being that may have been covered up through other experiences, maybe traumas, maybe something that has happened in school, work, environment. We don't know. So many factors impact on why we shy away from certain ways of expression.
So take baby steps maybe to become
Yes.
a little bit more flexible, but don't, chase yourself out of the box.
Yes, yes. Anything that we're chasing,
Not good.
not good.
Okay. Thank you so much, Asha.
Only a pleasure.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
To all our listeners, thank you for tuning in, and we hope you enjoyed the conversation. Share this episode with your friends and family and help them understand themselves a little bit better. We're available on YouTube video and music, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Anghami, and Amazon Music. Stay well and keep thriving.